What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Truck Talk, brought to you by me, inspired by my man Chili. So often here on YouTube, I see you guys complaining about your situation in life, about how you're freaking broke, you're just barely scraping by, you can barely pay your bills and buy groceries, you can't have the things that you want, you can't do the things that you want, and that's what this video is all about. I mean, I just posted a review on a scope yesterday, and half the comments in there are you guys complaining about the price of the scope. That I'm just trying to tell you, this is a good scope, man. And you know, it's sad to me because I know that there is a better way for you if you want to do it. And I want you to know something about me too. Just 5 years ago, I was living in a double wide trailer, man. For most of my life, I've had to finance everything that I've had, from vehicles to the house I was living in. For a long period of time, I had to rent a little shack. I lived out of a freaking shack. It was 500 square feet. It was a little shack behind somebody's house. Me and my wife lived in that for years. I know what it's like. I spent many years where I also wasn't able to have the things that I wanted or do the things that I wanted to do, whether that's traveling or adventuring or whatever it is. But I never accepted that that was going to be my reality long term for the rest of my life. I never accepted that. When I was in those situations, it was for me a realization that I was sacrificing during those years, and I wasn't able to do and have the things I wanted so that I could eventually get to the place that I am today. And today I have everything I want, and I have extra, like plenty of extra, and I'm able to do the things I want to do, have the things I want, and I'm able to give also when I see the opportunities to give. It's really cool, man. I'm going to tell you how I got there. It's really simple. And by the way, it's not freaking YouTube. I can tell you, YouTube's not how I got here. A lot of you guys think I'm making all kinds of money on freaking YouTube. And yeah, YouTube is a revenue stream, but it would be maybe enough for one person to have a decent living. That's about it, right? So YouTube is not my main revenue stream, and it's definitely not how I got to the position I am today. My story of how I got to here, how I got to where I am today, is not something unique, man. It's the same old freaking story, man. And I'm going to tell it to you and in a nutshell, and you're going to hear this. And the reality is it's possible for you to do the exact same thing if you're tired of being freaking broke and not having and doing the things that you want to have and do with this short amount of time that you have here on this earth. You can do the same thing, man. Promise you. It's just most of you aren't willing to. So, in a nutshell, how did I get here? Well, I spent about a decade, my late teens, from about the age of 18 all the way through my 20s. So I spent my entire 20s essentially learning skills, building experience or gaining experience, making big mistakes, setting big goals and achieving them, really not doing anything that I wanted to do, working really, really hard, and not making essentially even enough money to live. That was about a decade of my life. Literally eating the nastiest food at the freaking chow hall on base because I couldn't afford to go out and buy a decent dinner. especially in my early 20s. Didn't hunt, didn't fish, didn't go have adventures, didn't take vacations. None of that. Spent a decade gaining experience, learning new skills, making mistakes, creating stories, building relationships with people. That was it. Whole decade, man. After that, once that part of my life was kind of wrapping up and I left the military, I started thinking, all right, I've spent 10 years or more, 12 years actually, really just scraping by and doing what I had to do to gain experience and stories, create stories. And I thought, you know what? Now it's time for me to think about how I can take all of the things that I've done, that I've suffered through, that I've endured over the last 10 years. How can I take those things and how can I package them in a way that's going to provide value to people, individuals, to companies, teams, you name it. How can I package that? How can I articulate those things that I've learned, summarize it, and present it in a way that's going to add value to people and make people and organizations better? Because I'm sharing the failures and the mistakes and the successes and all the things that I've built over the last 10 years. And so I began to work on that. And once I was developing those messages, I just gave it all away for free. That was starting in my early 30s. Gave it all away for free. Either on social media or speaking engagements, or actually it was free for everybody who was consuming those lessons or gaining from those lessons. It wasn't free for me, because I would actually have to pay for my own travel to go out and sit as a guest on a podcast or something like that. So it was costing me money to give away the things that I had spent an entire decade learning. It was costing me money to give it away for free. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And I was just using my little bit of savings that I had to just kind of get by in the meantime, right? Round about that time, I partnered with my little brother and we started 3 of 7 Project. When we started 3 of 7 Project to kind of be the conduit for the things that I had to offer, the things that we had to offer, we started that up with $5,000 that both Blake and I contributed together from our savings. So we started with. Didn't take out any loans. Nothing, man. We had $5,000. And that's what we used. We created a brand. Blake was working for 3 of 7 Project and working a full-time job on the side. Well, not on the side. He was working a full-time job. So he was working 2 jobs, not paying himself anything. I didn't pay myself anything for the first 3 years. The first 3 years of our business, didn't pay myself anything. But we kept going. And over the last 5 years, I have said yes to pretty much everything. Every opportunity that has come my way, I have said yes to. I've went and put in the work to do it. I've hired people. I've fired people. I've found the right team that's willing to go as far and as fast as I want to go. I have the right people around me. It took a while to get that, man. I've watched other people that were way, way further along than I was, and I wasn't too prideful to watch them and to learn from them. and to say, dang, man, this is what he's doing. How can I apply that? I'm constantly doing that, trying to think about how to improve. And over the course of now coming up on 5 years of owning 3 of 7 Project with my brother, and obviously with our core team, Cornbread and Chili, we've been able to now get to a point where we've established a reputation, and where we are able to make, all 4 of us make a decent living based off of doing the things that we love to do. Took a long, long time to get there. Another thing I did is I looked at the skills that I gained in that first decade, my 20s, what I was really passionate about, and that's teaching. I love teaching and instructing, man. I learned that was one of my passions, and I'm pretty dang good at it. So I took that passion and that skill, I developed that in order to create the training missions that we have here at 3 of 7 Project. Now that sounds real easy, but that was a process in and of itself. So not only was I going and sharing my message and going on shows and podcasts and utilizing social media and saying yes to everything and traveling and paying for all that out of my own savings, not only was I doing all that, but at the same time, I was developing curriculum. I was going out and proofing these courses that we run, like the basic course, the rite of passage, the proving grounds. I was planning them out with my team. We were running the initial courses with our students. Then we would go back every time and tweak it and make it better and make it better and make it better. Now, after 5 years, I think we have the best training courses that you can possibly take. If you're looking to develop your body, soul, and spirit all in one place. That's in a nutshell how I got here, man. So I hope this helps some of you guys. I hope this lets some of you guys know, if you guys are just starting in your journey and you're in those years like I was in my 20s and early teens, where you're not able to take vacations and do the things that you want to do, and you're barely making any money. I hope this helps you guys think a little bigger and realize that's not supposed to be your reality for the rest of your life. You're supposed to be doing that for a reason. And the work doesn't end there. After you leave, after you get through that and you have the experience and you have the stories and you have all of that stuff in the bank, man, then you have to learn how to articulate it. Then you have to learn how to bring value to other people. And then you have to give it away for a long, long time. And then people will start paying you for it. And so as you see this red-bearded redneck guy that you think just got rich off of YouTube, as you see me talking to you guys and you guys see the things that I get to enjoy in life now, finally, what you can't see is the literal millions of miles that I have traveled. What you can't see is all of the things I said yes to that took a lot of work, that took me away from my home, my family. What you can't see is the freaking little 500 square foot shack that I lived in with my wife for years, or the double wide trailer that I was living in just 5 years ago, man. What you can't see is the years, the last 3-4 years that I've worked, that I didn't pay myself anything, that I was just living off of my savings, and my wife, she works. So take heart, man. And that's the story, man. That's most people's story. That you'll hear if they're honest. And if they didn't just inherit something or get lucky, which is a rare thing. And if you're not willing to do any of that, If you think there's no, nah, I'm just going to stay poor, I'm just going to keep complaining. Well, look, I'm just going to stay in the same situation I am in life. Like, if you're not willing to do the stuff I just talked about, just shut up about the fact that you can't afford things. Like, that you can't live the life you want, that you can't do the things that you want. Just freaking shut up, man. Because nobody out here that's winning believes your excuses. That's what's funny about excuses. Is you're the only one who believes your excuses. No one else does. If you got anything out of this episode, drop me a comment. Go get you a hat, get you a t-shirt if you want to support us here at 307 Project. If you got something out of this, if it added value to your life, if it encouraged you, it means a lot to me that you guys will rep our gear. Keeps Chili in the dungeon. It's a big deal, man. Share it with somebody that might need to hear it. That's just a nutshell version of how I got here. There's a lot more to it. Love you guys. Enough said.